Hi, Sarah Hobson here. I am the founder of Hobson & Hobson PC and the mother of 4 intelligent, smart, witty children that keep me on my toes. Their ages are 3, 6, 8, and almost 15. And I am the wife of the best partner in the world for me, Chris Hobson. We are not only life partners, but we are partners in our law firm, and we own Hobson & Hobson PC, which is a divorce and custody firm in Georgia, and we help people who are passionate about protecting their parental rights and fighting for fair financial futures during divorce. I had a goal last year, New Year's resolution, to put out content to help people who are going through ending a relationship, ending a marriage, trying to figure out custody of their children, and really people who are going through a hard time and their goal is to come out of it unscathed. That did not happen. I did a few posts last year. Basically, I didn't like how I looked on camera. I felt weird. I didn't want people to judge me, basically. I didn't want to be seen. I wanted to put up an image of, this professional attorney who's relatable but still not make any mistakes. And so pretty short into that adventure, I nixed it, I stopped it. And really, I've come to the realization that if I really want to help people, this is what I've got to do. I've got to put myself out there. I've got to be vulnerable. If someone is not going to, accept my help or hear me out because the camera makes me look heavy, then so be it. Those aren't the people that I really want to work with anyhow. But really, I wanted to share my story, which is really scary because there's even people in my family that I've never told these things to. You might be seeing on Facebook a lot right now, or even on the news, that a lot of lawyers dub January as divorce month. It is a true phenomenon that in January, that is when divorces pick up, meaning that people are contacting law firms that they're interested in pursuing a divorce, or perhaps they've even been served. In my experience, it's not really the entire month of January. It actually picks up about sometime around next week, and that's based on the years that we've had the past 7 years, basically. I think part of the reason is that the Christmas decorations aren't even down yet. Come on, Christmas is still up. How am I going to go talk to a lawyer about actually doing something to better my life that may involve ending a marriage with Santa Claus is still on the mantle and the stockings are still hung? So I totally understand it, but I did want to talk to the people who are in that phase right now where you're really contemplating whether or not next week you're going to be calling an attorney because you have a lot of fear, anxiety, shame, guilt. I wanted to share my story, and like I said, I'm going to be putting out some content this year to really kind of let you know what I've been through, what my husband and I have been through together in the situation that we have, and perhaps it'll help you. My main message is that you can get out of a bad relationship unscathed, and your children can too. I think that's what keeps a lot of people in a bad relationship, is they think that they're protecting their children by doing that. But, and I can go way deep into this on another video, but children who are exposed to a bad relationship, they are programmed to then believe that that's the norm. So they will go in life, all the problems that you and your spouse or your partner have right now, they will go through life and they will look for someone with those same problems because that's normal to them. That's safe. Their subconscious is telling them, this is normal, this is what love looks like. And I really want to share my story because I've been talking to other former clients who I'm learning that they have a similar outcome that I have. And I just want people to know that this is an option. It's not an easy option. It's not, it involves getting rid of your ego. It involves making some really hard decisions and really being relentless in your pursuit to living the best life you can live. So I'm going to start my story in just a moment, but I did want to lay some ground rules. Part of the reason that I didn't do this last year and I stopped it is I was, really concerned about the feedback I would get in sharing my story and being vulnerable. I am going to start by posting this on a different page than our firm's webpage, because I don't want this to be like a professional legalese lawyer talk to the people that need help. I want to be real. I want to be myself. I want to really speak what's on my mind. So I may swear. I will try not to. I know kids are on Facebook as well. I'll try not to swear. It's just who I am in the real world. It's a bad habit, one of many. I'm working on it. But I understand, I want people to understand I am a lawyer. I am a professional person. This page is not meant to be me in my lawyer suit telling you a bunch of legal jargon that you can Google. This is supposed to be giving you real life experience that I have, and I'm hoping other people will join me in sharing their stories, so you can have a real model to work towards if you are interested in coming out of a divorce or a relationship that involves children unscathed and not screwing your kids up in the process. Please, another thing, this is totally off the cuff. It's not scripted. I may down the road do some scripted posts if I feel like I really need to nail the message. But this is more of me just talking off the cuff from my heart. So please don't hang on every word. And I do want to disclaim too, this is not intended to be legal advice. I do own a law firm, a divorce and custody law firm in Georgia. It's called Hobson PC. If you are looking for specific legal advice, we'd be more than happy to help you in that setting. This is true, just me as a mom, as a businesswoman, as a wife, as an ex, telling you my story, and hopefully other people will join me in sharing theirs. But this is not meant to be legal advice. We can help you with that, but please don't come to these videos looking for legal advice. Now that I've done that disclaimer, I will jump into it. I think a lot of people, they have an opinion of me, and of course everyone has an opinion of everyone, but I think that the way I present is that from the outside, I've got my stuff together. I'm successful and organized and on top of everything. And that is who I strive to be. That is a better part of me. But I've been through some really dark times. I am human, and I want to share a story with you, basically, of something that happened to me when I was younger, that has really made me into the woman, the mom, the law firm owner that I am today. And I want to share it with you because I think it will help you if you are in a similar situation and you're experiencing right now, which statistically a lot of you are, a lot of fear, doubt, uncertainty, shame, and guilt. I'm nervous, but here we go. So when I was 19 years old, I was in college in Florida, and I found out, I was in a relationship, I was in a serious relationship. I found out that I was pregnant, and my grandmother had a huge role in my life raising me. She was a very devout Catholic. She perceived me as I really was a good girl. I was going to do something great with my life. I was smart. I didn't do foolish things. And when I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified. I was terrified I wasn't married. I was terrified what my family was going to think of me. And at that time of my life, my identity was so wrapped into how my family perceived me. I came from my mom was a single mom, and she just struggled through life. And I didn't want my family, when they were to learn that I was pregnant, to think the same thing about me, that I was just going to struggle through life. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want them to think that I was a screw up. So I knew I had to really go for my goals. I had to really figure some things out really quickly. I had never really lived on my own before. I had, even in college, I had a dorm room of, 3 other roommates. And then on breaks, I was living with my grandmother. So it was very scary. Let me just wrap it up with that, saying it was very scary. when I broke the news, my boyfriend at the time, he proposed, and we did love each other, and I still love him as a human being. I care very deeply for him. But the marriage, I think, in my mind, was really to just validate my pregnancy with my family. And I just knew if I could just stick that Band-Aid on it, they would see I am a good girl, I am going to do good things. I didn't want to disappoint them. I thought it would fix it. And I think a lot of people go into marriages like that. We ended up, I ended up taking time and a half in college to graduate early. So instead of 12 credits, I took 18 credits because I made a decision I was going to go to law school. My uncle was he is an attorney, and the family looked up to him. Like, they just thought he was the golden child, and I'd always admired him. I always looked up to him. I always wanted to be like him. I have another cousin, my cousin Susan in Massachusetts. She had an important role in my young childhood as well. She was also an attorney. And so I made the decision I was going to go to law school. And part of that was, at the time when I learned I was pregnant, I was working at a restaurant called the Silver Spoon in Bonita Springs, in a really fancy little shopping plaza. And I would also bartend there. It wasn't real bartending. It was basically pouring glasses of wine and making some martinis. So I'm useless at parties as far as making good mixed drinks, but that's besides the point. When I was bartending specifically, a lot of people at the bar would talk about their life regrets. And there was one in particular that really, I think, turned on the fire for me in my soul. That I knew I had to go to law school. I knew that was my heart's desire, and I could not let anything, even my pregnancy, stop me from that. And someone was talking about, I had mentioned that I was studying for the LSAT and that I wanted to go to law school. And someone was saying that, oh, I was going to go to law school too, and life happened, something like that. And that really, it irked me, because I started thinking, like, wow, like, what if I fail at this? What if I don't do it? My family wasn't entirely supportive. Not all of my family. My grandmother was, my aunt was, my mother was, but there were people in my life that were not supportive of me going to law school with a small child. My fiance at the time, he was still in grad school in Florida, so he would not be joining me in law school. I'd have to take my daughter with me on my own. And there's a lot of people that weren't supportive. They were saying, wait until he's done and then you can go. But I started, every time I would share with people while I was bartending that I was studying for the LSATs and I was going to go to law school, they would say things like everybody. It was like everybody was like, oh yeah, I was going to go to law school. Oh, I was going to do that. I was thinking about that. And I made a decision one night that was not going to be me. I was not going to be the girl at the bar saying I was going to go to law school. I was going to go to law school, and I was going to do really good at it. I was going to go. Nothing was going to stop me. And I made that decision right then and there. And I just had this vision of who I did not want to be. I did not want to be the girl at the bar talking about what I was going to do. So I went to law school. My fiance did support me in that decision. But it was scary. I mean, it was terrifying. And while I was there, I learned, being away from my fiance, I learned that I was very passionate. I was very opinionated. And that part of me wasn't being permitted to flourish in the relationship that I was in with the people that I was surrounding myself with at that time. And even my professors would say things really rude, like, I've memorized these because it drives me now. One professor called me a competitive little cuss. Another one said something, I don't know, some other C word, not the bad C word, but another C word. And I realized, like, you know what, I am, and I'm okay with that. I like that about me. I like that I'm not complacent, and I really wanted that side of me to flourish, and I kind of had to really step into it. And And I realized through that, when I'm learning this new side of my identity, that I couldn't become the person that I had envisioned. I couldn't do the things that I had envisioned in the relationship I was in. And I decided to call off our relationship. We called off the wedding. It was just like terror after terror after terror I was having to overcome. It was so scary because now I was truly a single, unwed mom. And I was in law school with people in their early 20s who certainly had an opinion about that. And I felt less than. I felt shame. I felt guilt. And, you know, a big part of that guilt was I grew up without a dad. I never saw my dad after I was 3 years old. And that's a whole nother video that I'll do. But I realized that, you know, if I go through with this, if I end this relationship, I'm going to be doing that to my daughter. Like, how can I do that to my daughter knowing how hard it was for me to grow up without a dad? And I had a lot of shame and guilt. How was my ex going to be? How was he going to go through life without me? And at the time, I really thought it would destroy him. And I felt shame and guilt about that. But deep down, I knew I had to end the relationship if I wanted to grasp on to this better life for me and my daughter. And it was really a horrible feeling. And it wasn't, for people who are going through this, it's not like you make the decision and you feel good about it. I mean, it went on for years. I mean, even up until recently, there was an issue, and I'll get into that, where I can put it to bed. But just because I didn't want to be in a relationship didn't mean I didn't care about him. I cared very deeply about him. He's the father of my daughter. I wanted him to succeed in life. He was in grad school, and I knew that this breakup was going to really tear him up. But I decided that the possibility of a better future for me and my daughter I had to go for it. That's what I had to do. I had to go to law school, become a great attorney, provide for my daughter, be an advocate, and I had to pursue it. I couldn't let anything stop that. So I did end it. And I want to fast forward a bit. I met my husband in law school, and we got married, and we went through a whole custody case, basically, where we decided it was in the best interest of my daughter for her biological father to give up his rights so that my husband could adopt her. And it was a really hard decision for all of us. And we got through it. And I want to fast forward now to, it's January 8th, 2020. About a week ago, my ex, his fiance, his father, his sister, and her husband, and his daughter from a previous marriage, they all came to my house and stayed with me for about 10 days with me and my family in my home for the Christmas holidays, like they have done for the past several years. And a lot of you may never see that as an option. You may think that, oh my gosh, I would never have my ex spend the holidays with me and my new husband. People think we're crazy. My ex's father, his name is Chris too. He tells me when he tells his colleagues where he's going, everyone's like, they don't understand. Like, how does this work? And that's what I want to share is we made a decision. I mean, we went through some hard times. There was definitely battles. It was a tragic time of my life. But we came to a decision, my husband, myself, and my ex, that we weren't going to put our egos ahead of what was best for my daughter, Haley. We were going to put that to the side, and we were going to do what was best for her. And even my ex's family made that decision with us, that the more people that love my daughter, the better we all are off. The better off we all are. And we vacation together. We have a great time together. I love them. They are my family. They've really kind of adopted I have 3 other children. They've adopted them as their own. And it's turned into this really beautiful relationship. But it really was, we had to decide a few things. 1, it wasn't about us. 2, my ex is doing great. All the shame and fear and guilt that I had for ending that relationship, like I met his fiance, she stayed with us this past Christmas. It was awesome. He's in good hands. He's in a great relationship. He didn't need me to be happy. It wasn't about me. It was really us both just separating and growing into the people that we've become today. And I hope to continue to grow. And people change. Another thing I want to say is never disparage the other parent. Do not go there with your child. A child's identity is very much wrapped into who their parents are as they perceive them to be. So one, you don't want to harm your child. You do not want to tell them, oh, my ex, shut your mouth. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your relationship. You don't do that to your kid. You don't. If you do that to your kid, don't come to my law firm to help you, because we're not going to do it. We're not going to help people who use psychological warfare on their children to get back at their ex. And the second thing I want to say is you don't have to. My daughter's 15 now. She fully understands my ex's flaws, and she fully understands my flaws. They figure it out, and we talk about it. But there's no question in her mind, especially when she sees the life that I have created, there's no question in her mind as to why we didn't work out. It's an understanding that we as humans have flaws, but we don't have to point them out to the kids. They figure it out. I always try to say nice things about my ex, and really, now embracing his fiance. I think that she's awesome. I've told him, don't screw it up. You're really lucky to have her. And just watching their relationship grow and how she's accepted my daughter, it's just, that's what love looks like. And I want that for everyone. It is possible if I can do it. And trust me, I have a lot of hangups. If I can do this, you can do this, and you can get through this unscathed. You can get out of your marriage that's not it's a poor portrayal of what love should look like, and you can show your children, you can really teach them what love really does look like. And right now I wanted to invite people, if you have been in a situation where you were getting out of a relationship and there was children involved, and you were able to then work through it, and now you're great co-parents. If you would be willing to share your story with me, I'd love to interview you. We could do like a little video interview like I've done on the other YouTube channel, or if you even wanted to just write something, I could read it. You could be completely anonymous. But January is a crucial month for a lot of people around the nation. A lot of people are making a decision if they're going to stay in a bad relationship for another year, or if this is going to be the year that they step out and decide to go for a brighter future and give themselves room to become a better person and give the other person room to become a better person. So I think the more that we can douse people with success stories, the more that they can create that vision for their own lives and have a better outcome. For a lot of people, they'll stay together for the children, and it's just so damaging. Some people have come to me, why don't you try to offer a service where you keep people together, and instead of divorcing them. And the fact is, we are a divorce firm because we believe that in some situations it is the best thing for the kids, and it's the best thing for the individuals separately. I'll do a whole nother post on that, but divorce is not a bad thing. It's a very difficult thing. It's a very trying, sometimes tragic time of your life, but it is necessary in many cases to create a better life for you. And when you create a better life for you, you're creating a better life for your children. I ran into a prior client who, they had a really, really, really nasty divorce, and I'd kind of written off any hopes of them ever being able to co-parent. Sometimes you see these trials and people let it all hang out. The neighbors come and watch like it's some television show. And so many things are said out loud on the record in court. And, sometimes I'll say to myself, and I get a little jaded, oh gosh, they'll never be good co-parents. This is it's sad. But I've been hearing stories a lot lately, which kind of prompted me to do this video, that there is a former client I ran into, and she's got a great relationship with her ex and his new wife, and she's remarried. They all are able to go and watch the children's extracurricular activities together, and it's a great blended modern family. And I kind of I didn't think that would happen for her. And I was just so happy to hear it, because that's what I have. And I want that for everyone. So if you even have any questions about how you can have that in your own situation, I'm not talking legal advice, but if you want to, some real practical tips on how to get out of a divorce where you and your children are unscathed, I'd love to talk to you about it. I can offer, I guess, maybe the first 10 people that email me, I'll do a free 1 hour just chat with you about some things that you can do, some books you can read. You really, to come out of a divorce or a custody situation unscathed, you do have to really do a lot of reading. Some therapy is very useful. You've got to learn how to get out of that bad situation by being a better person, becoming a better version of yourself. So I guess for the first 10 people that email me, I'll give you my email, or if you're interested in sharing your story, we can do it anonymously, or like I said, if you want to do it publicly, my email is sarah@hobsonlegal.com. That's SARAH at HOB as in boy, SON at Sarah@hobsonlegal.com. And if you are interested, if you do have a pressing matter where you think you do need to talk to an attorney, you want a strategy session, we do offer those at our firm. Our office number is 770-425-3373. But my intent with this content is to really just reach out and give you guys some useful information. This one is just to give you some hope that you can get out of your relationship unscathed, but it's going to require you to leave your ego at the door. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon.